So the principles of verbal messages, first is that messages are packaged. That means that verbal messages also come with a nonverbal portion of it. There are nonverbal signals that interact with our verbal messages, and they can sometimes contradict, but sometimes they also emphasize. Your textbook talks about 6 ways that they interact, nonverbal and verbal messages. The first is to accent or emphasize a verbal message. The second is to complement. That means add nuances of meaning, give it a little bit more depth. 3 is contradict, so deny the verbal message. So what we're saying does not at all coincide with what we're doing with our facial expressions or our gestures or our eyes. 4, nonverbal messages can actually manage the flow of communication or control the flow. 5, it can repeat or help us to restate the message nonverbally. And 6, it can take the place of a verbal message altogether. So if I wave at you, I have nonverbally said hello, but there was no verbal message to go with that. The second principle is that message meanings are in people. So that means that you can't tell me what a word means or what a statement you make should mean to me. All you can do is ask me, what does it mean to you if if I indicate that I didn't understand or I took it the wrong way. So is that message meanings are in people. So that means that you can't tell me what a word means or what a statement you make should mean to me. All you can do is ask me, what does it mean to you if if I indicate that I didn't understand or I took it the wrong way. So meanings being in people means we get to create our own meaning, and somebody can't tell us that we're doing that incorrectly. It's something that we do and very much influences our communication. Next is meanings are denotative and connotative. The denotative meaning of the word is going to be the actual dictionary definition. So if I look up the word mean when your mother or father died, it wasn't just that their heart stopped beating and that their brain activity ceased to function and there was no breath in their lungs anymore. It meant so much more than that. It meant that a part of us died with them, that our identity has been lost, that we are in deep grief and mourning because there's nobody to ask opinions of. And so it's a much more emotional meaning. If we look it up in the dictionary, yeah, it means that somebody has stopped functioning, their human functions has stopped. But that's just the literal meaning, not the emotional meaning that we can attach to that.
Here, it's the back is coming off over here, the end is pinching.
Play ball! Right. You break it up, man. I can't hear you.
That is not gonna fly.
I'm falling, and
as a feather. Come on. Light as a feather. Light.
Let there be light.
Hopefully that video gave you some indication of the emotional response you have to words. There were certain breaks, like the broken bone that you said, well, the dictionary definition means a bone is broken, but the emotional response to that is, oh no, that poor person. And then we see that breakup and we know that that means that a relationship is no longer going to be as intimate as it was. And again, we have an emotional response to it, which is, oh, it must be devastating for that poor girl and for the gentleman who looked over at her. So hopefully you're able to monitor your emotional response to the same exact word, even though that word had different meanings. Do that. Next is messages vary in abstraction. Typically, when we deliver messages, we probably begin by delivering more vague and general messages than we should begin with. Our goal is to always be very specific so that you can effectively guide the images that will come into your listener's minds. So that means that you want them to focus on certain things, and the more specific you are, the more clear it will be to them what you want them to focus on. So sometimes our frustration with other people not understanding our messages is actually our downfall in not being very specific. The next is that messages vary in politeness, and politeness enables us to help others maintain their positive face, which is you're viewed positively by other people, and it also helps them to maintain their negative face, and that means we have the right to do as we wish. So positive face, people think kindly of me. Negative face, I can do what I want, and it doesn't matter if people think kindly of me or not. I'm still able to do this. Directness is usually less polite, but sometimes we do have to be direct with people. Indirect messages don't always work, but our goal would be to always be polite. It is a desirable trait that messages should have, and that even in different cultures, we deliver polite messages. The next aspect is message meanings can deceive, and that basically just means that sometimes people lie to us. We can either send a message with the intent of giving another person information you believe to be false, or it means that we withhold a certain type of information. There's different types of lies. We're not going to get into those. You can read about them, and there's different ways that we can look about how people lie and the behavior of liars. But honestly, at the end of the day, we need to know that lie detection is difficult to do, and sometimes we will be deceived through the messages people deliver.
Welcome back. Do you ever wonder if someone is lying to you? Well, there are some things that you can look for to find the truth.
And we brought in a polygraph examiner to put 5 people to the test and show you how to be a human lie detector.
Did you ever steal anything valued at more than $10, $25?
No.
Are you basically a dishonest person?
Basically a dishonest person?
This polygraph examiner and retired FBI agent doesn't need a machine to pinpoint a liar.
The eyes are a window to the soul. You can see right through them.
What do they expect from me? That's a good question.
Take a close look at this guy's eyes. Before Jason answers, he looks up to the right.
Looking up and the right means you're making up something. You're visually picturing something that's never happened, you know. That's a lie.
Up to the left, you're remembering something. Only problem, it's the opposite for lefties, like Jason, so he's telling the truth. Shifty eyes could also indicate dishonesty.
The moment they complete that lie, they look right back at me because they're trying to see whether I'm buying what they're selling.
Bill Brown says all of the people we interviewed are basically honest. Look at how comfortably they sit in their chair. Liars may rub their neck, tap their fingers, look at their watch, all signs of nervousness.
Or they'll position something between you and them, even if it's only a book or a coffee cup. When you see something like it, why is that? It's just getting a barrier or something between you and me.
Someone telling a fib may lean back in their chair, sit to the side, and keep their arms crossed and hands tightly folded in their lap.
Didn't you ever put any false information on any form?
On any form? No.
What about people who try to change the conversation?
It makes almost everybody a little bit uncomfortable to lie. So if they can say something else in a tangential way and get you to accept that, then they don't have to lie.
And really listen to what they're saying and how they say it.
If all the time you've been talking to them, they've been speaking in one voice, and then all at once they speak in this voice, pretty good indication.
Pretty insightful, and Bill says liars will most likely do a combo of those things, so you have to look out for that. But there's also some things that they just cannot control at all, affected by the autonomic nervous system, and we put that list, if you want to check it out on our website,